Hello everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecolored.co.uk and thank you very much for joining me today. This is today's project. As you can see, it is a little bauble to hang on a Christmas tree, but I haven't made it using a Christmas stamp. I've used one of the stamps from the annual catalogue. Now, I have a cat and I love my little kitty. If you have a dog, there is a stamp set in the Stampin' Up catalogue which is called Bella and Friends, which has got a lovely little puppy on it. So you could make either. You could make the kitty cat, or you could make the little dog. But either way, if you stay with me, I will show you how I made it. These are the things that I'm using today. I'm using the Pretty Kitty stamps, and I'm going to be using that cheeky little cat right there. And I'm going to be stamping onto shimmering white cardstock. And I'm going to be stamping using my basic black archival ink, and I'm going to be colouring in with my Stampin' Write markers from the neutral set and the subtle sets, and I'm going to be using blender pens as well. I'm going to be doing some die cutting with the Pretty Pines set, and I'm going to be die cutting scraps of garden green and mint macaron, and I did just use up my scraps. I didn't, cut into a fresh piece of card. I have a piece of acetate. This is just a piece of packaging material. It's nice and thick and stiff, and I'm going to be die cutting that using my layering circles templates dies. What else did I use? Let's bring the other things in. I have a basket of things here. I used the Mica Flakes. Now you get 3 in a set. You get the white, as I'm going to be using today. You also get gold and you get green. And they come in a plastic bag, and I've just put it into a little food container to keep them from getting everywhere. I'm going to be using the Basic Pearls Jewels. And of course I'm going to be using a bauble. This one is 6 centimeters in diameter, and I think I got them in a pack of 6 from Hobbycraft or somewhere like that. They are readily available in places like eBay. If you just search for clear plastic baubles to fill, then you will get a choice of sizes and how many packs of 6, packs of 10. I've even seen packs of 100. I think that's going a little far. And they just split apart and go back together again. So I have one of those because I am making a bauble. And I have some ribbons. These are the Silky Taffeta ribbons, which are in a pack of 2, and these are in the winter catalogue. And I've also got the trio of Baker's Twines, which are also in the autumn winter catalogues. And I put out all 3 because at the moment I'm not 100% sure which colours I'm going to want to use, so I want to have them all on hand so I have a choice. So those are the things that I'm going to be using to make my bauble. I'm going to start by stamping and colouring my little cat, and I've got it mounted up onto my clear block already. I have my basic black archival ink, and I'm just going to ink it up. And because this is one of our archival pads, you get better coverage if you tap and then twist. Tap and twist, and it's a good coating of ink on that stamp. I don't know whether you can see it shining there. And I'm going to go straight down onto my shimmering white, and I'm going to count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to give the ink time to transfer. And that is a beautiful clear stamped image. I'm just going to wipe my block, and I am just going to just blot that because that was quite a lot of ink on there, and I want to start colouring and I want it to be dry, and that's okay. Nothing came off onto the tissue, so that is good to go. So let's put the stamp and the ink pad out of the way, otherwise I will come to grief. Now I have Stampin' Write markers and a blender pen, and I've got Blushing Bride, Sahara Sand, and I think this is Crumb Cake. And what I forgot to say when I talked about the supplies was I need a colour for her bow. Now I used cherry cobbler on the one that I'm going to be showing you in a minute, because I am going to have to do a here's one I did earlier, but this time I'm going to use real red. Okay, so I'm going to start with the blushing bride, and I'm just going to colour inside her ears, just here, so she has nice clean pink ears, unlike Madame Misty, who quite often has dirty ears and we have to hold her down and clean her, and she doesn't like it. Okay, so I'm going to scribble with the brush end, because these pens have two ends. They have a fine tipped end, which is what I use to do my fine colouring, and a brush end. And I have my basic black blender pen. My blender pen. It's not basic black at all. Don't use basic black, it'll make a mess of it. And I'm just going to just give a kind of pinky colour cast just around the outline. And what this is doing, it is just warming up, or it will warm up, the colours that are coming behind. I'm leaving her face clear, and I'm leaving her tummy clear. And what I'm going for here is the colour of my cat, who is a Persian. I don't know if you've ever seen any of my videos. Sometimes she makes a personal appearance, because she gets very, very interested in what I'm doing, and she wants to join in. Okay. So now going over the top with the Sahara Sand, and that is actually making quite a good lilac Persian colour, I think. Okay, and finally just a little bit of the crumb cake. Now, I've said before that I am not a colourer innerer. It's not my favourite thing to do at all. I just don't have the patience for it. But using the blender pens and the watercolour markers, even I can get a good effect. I want a little bit more dark under her leg. There you go. That's better. Right. And finally, a little red bow. And if I try to put a bow on Misty, I would definitely lose skin. There would be bloodshed. She wouldn't like it at all. Okay. Now I'm going to give that time to dry, and what I am then going to do is I am going to fussy cut it out. I won't do that here and now. You all know how to run a pair of scissors, at least I hope you do. And I'm going to bring in the one I did earlier in true TV craft show style. Okay. And what I did after I cut her out, if I flip her over, because this is going to be a bauble and it's going to be visible from all sides, I also coloured in her rear. And I used the same colours that I used on the front, and I just put I just put it down on a bit of paper, and I just traced an outline around it with my basic black, and that gave it enough of a black outline so that it didn't look like it was fading away. And I just went in a little bit to give some indication of where her little bottom was and where her back of her head was. So I did both sides. So that is my little cat now ready to be glued into my bauble. So the little kitty cat is all coloured in, cut out and ready to go, and I need a platform for her to stand on to fit her inside of the bauble. So what I have is I've taken some of that packing acetate that I showed you in the supply section, and I've die cut it out into a sort of a circle frame. So I used the the die that was the closest fit to the bauble, and all I did was I opened the bauble in half and I kind of fitted the dies inside until I found one that was a pretty close match actually, and I then cut out another one for the centre. So that's all I did for that, and now I'm going to start sticking my bits together. I've also got the pieces that I die cut with the Pretty Pines. Okay, so I cut some of each of the pine branches in the garden green and in the mint macaron, and also the this sort of mistletoe looking leaves. I think it's supposed to be mistletoe. It looks like mistletoe to me. Now, I'm not going to need all of that branch, but it was much quicker to run all three through the big shot at the same time, rather than to run the smallest one through 3 times, because to be honest with you, even the smallest one, I can find that one, which is this one here, even the smallest one, it is going to be too big. I'm going to have to cut it down. So those are all my die cut pieces ready to go, and I don't know why I'm waving this around. Should put that down. Probably be safer. Alright, now I'm going to put my adhesive along the bottom of the donut piece, and I'm spreading it out a bit. Now it will dry. Alright, this will dry on the acetate, but it does take a little bit of time. Alright, so just to warn you about that, just to manage your expectations about that, as they say. Okay, so I'm going to stick my little cat just a little feet where I want her to go, and I'm going to bring in my mica powders. They're not powders, they're mica flakes, and I'm just going to give that a coating. Okay. So that she looks like she's walking on snow. And I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to cover all of this from the reverse, so you can't see where the glue is. Nifty, eh? Okay. So that's going to need some time to dry. I'm just going to set it down on my silicone mat. Now, if any of the flakes get knocked off, not a big deal. I can just come in with a little bit more adhesive later on, and I can stick it back on again. So, yeah, that's stress-free. Excuse me, I'm just putting the top back on the mica flakes, because otherwise I know either I, the cat, or my husband will knock it flying, and I will be vacuuming up mica flakes for weeks. Alright, so now I'm going to bring in the branches that I cut and the leaves that I cut. And I cut more than I thought I was going to need. Right, so let's do some chopping up here. Now, I am just going to put a little bit of glue onto the back of that, and as you can see, I've chopped that down quite finely. I want to be sure that the edges of these branches don't extend beyond the rim of the circle, because if they do, they will be too big for the inside of the bauble. Okay, so just cut just the tips off the ends, and I'm going to keep those pieces. Of course I am. Don't be silly, not going to throw those away. Definitely not. Okay. I can see the adhesive there, and I don't think I want to, so and it will dry clear. Definitely will dry clear. Okay, how's that? How's that looking? It's hard to see on clear. That's looking quite sweet, I think. So, right. Let's have a look at, right. This piece is already broken, and I think I'm going to use the mint macaron piece for a bit of mistletoe. So she's standing there hoping that the love of her life is going to come along and give her a nice kiss. And she is a cheeky little minx, isn't she? She is such a little madam. Look at that. Yep, that's working well. Alright, now this is why I was waving this thing around earlier on. I'm going to bring in my Pearls Basic Jewels because they are perfect for mistletoe berries. And I'm going to put 3 mistletoe berries on. If I can get the pearls to cooperate with me, because I think she wants 3 kisses. So there you go. While my adhesive's setting, I'm going to make a little ribbon bow to go onto the front of the bauble, and I'm using the Silky Taffeta ribbon, which is in the Autumn Winter catalogue. Now I've made a bow in the Emerald Envy colour, but you also get the Cherry Cobbler in the pack, and I'm not sure at the moment which of the 2 colours I'm going to prefer. So I'm going to make another bow, but this time in the Cherry Cobbler, and to help me I'm going to use my bow maker. Now, lots of different incarnations of this kind of thing on the market, but they all work on the same principle of you have 2 posts, and they're either at a fixed width, or like this one you can adjust the width, because I just have to take the post out. I can move it and put it somewhere else. And that will give you a consistent width of ribbon loops. Now, this one I got on eBay a long time ago, and it cost me, I think, about £2 or £3. It wasn't very expensive at all. I also have a big one, which cost me considerably more than this, a big fancy schmancy one, which is great for making bows for home decor, things like that. I have made teeny tiny bows using a kitchen fork. I've done that before now, and you could knock a couple of nails through a piece of wood, and that would work just as well for you. But normally I have it in that position. It's upright, but that's not very easy for you to see what's going on. So I am going to be very brave. I wouldn't normally work with it in this orientation to myself, because now I've got it lying flat. But so that you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to try and make a bow with it in this orientation. So wish me luck. We may have to do a couple of takes of this. Okay, here we go. I have the cut end, the free end of the ribbon, in my left hand, and the working end is still attached to the reel of ribbon here. Alright. If I was left-handed, I would obviously have it in the opposite orientation. So to begin with, I've got a nice long tail here, and I'm passing the ribbon behind both of the posts on the bow maker, and I'm going to come over the front, and this is much easier to do when it's upright, excuse me. So there we go, there we are. So it looks like that. Alright, so having done that once, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go behind the post on the right hand side, around and back over. Okay, so now I have that shape. Now I could carry on, and I could do a third or a fourth or a fifth loop, as many loops as I wanted really, but I'm just going to stop short with a double loop bow. So next step is to take this ribbon, which is now at the front, to the back, and to bring this ribbon, which is at the back, over to the front. All right, and I'm just trying to make sure that I keep my loops nice and neat. And again, this is going to be much easier for you because you're not going to be having to do it to camera. And I now have that. Right, now I am going to lift it up because the next thing I need to do is to tie a knot. So okay, now I'm keeping that knot at the moment quite loose. All right, I haven't tightened it because what I want to do at this point is to adjust, oops, the width of my loops. I want them to be fairly even. And when I'm happy that they are, I'm just going to pull tight. All right, now I can bring my scissors and I can chop that away, and I can release my bow. And now I'm just going to fluff it. And there you go. Pull that tail down a bit. Okay. And there is a pretty little double looped bow. Now my tails are much longer than I want them because I want them quite short for my purposes on the bauble. I don't want them taking up too much space, so I'm just going to trim those off nice and short, just like that. The adhesive's had time to dry, so now I'm going to put the cat into the baubles. Now, I just want to point out before I put these together that the bauble obviously is in two halves, but the two halves are not identical. This one is smooth. Adhesive's had time to dry, and now I'm going to put the cat into the bauble, and I just want to point out that yes, the bauble comes in two parts, but the two halves are not identical. On this half there is a slight lip on the inside of the semicircle here. Okay, if I run my finger in there, there is a little ridge there. On this piece, the ridge is on the outside. And this is the piece that I want to put the inner piece into, all right, not this piece. So I'm going to move that out of the way so I don't get confused. And I'm going to use, I think, a couple of dimensionals. So I'm going to place them at the bottom of the sphere and just lining up with the lip there. And yes, they will show, but we're going to cover them with Mica Flakes, so that should stop, that should make them much less visible. But first of all, we're going to put the little kitty cat into the globe here. Okay, and I'm just going to need to be careful of her tail. Just bent her tail. She wouldn't be very happy with me. My Misty would not be very happy with me at all if I bent her tail. I would definitely be in the doghouse for weeks. Okay, and this is a little bit fiddly, but you know what? Just take your time. Just take your time, and try and if you're pressing down, try and press on the acetate, and then once you're happy with that. That's not too bad at all. Okay, there you go. Just going to flip that forward slightly. Okay, right, now that surface is sticky, and the dimensionals behind her are sticky. So when I fetch my Mica Flakes back, which I'm going to, I had a spoon here, it is. they should glue, they should stick to the adhesive on the dimensionals. I'm just going to bring her slightly forward, and I'm going to tip some Mica Flakes in behind her, and I'm going to put some Mica Flakes into the other half, and I'm just going to bring those two pieces together and close that up, and there is my little kitty cat romping in the snow. All I want to do now is to add a loop to hang my bauble off my Christmas tree from. So I've cut myself a length of our garden green baker's twine, which is in the trio pack, and I've chosen the green because my Christmas tree is a green tree. It's not silver or anything like that, and therefore I think that might be it might be less conspicuous when it's hanging from the branches. Alright, so I've set my bauble onto the handle of my scissors just to stop it, to slow it down a bit, because it wants to run all over the table. So I'm just tying what I fondly hope is a square knot in the loop, like that. And now I'm just going to trim off the ends, not too close together, and I am going to bring them down to the loop here, because I'm going to cover this bit with the ribbon, and I've decided to go with the cherry cobbler bow. So let's have a couple of glue dots, shall we? And I need to get rid of some of that backing paper because it's all over the place here. Alright, so I'm going to start with one there, just to hold these two ends in place, and that'll help stop them coming untied if I haven't been a good girl guide and tied a good knot. So that'll help keep the strands together, she says, pulling them apart. There we go. And I'm also going to put another glue dot. In fact, I think I'll probably use two here to put my bow on. There we go. And I just fluff my loops a little bit. And there we are. And there it is, all finished. And as I said at the beginning, I've made this to look like my cat. If you have a dog, we do have the Bella and Friends stamp set, which has got a very pretty little, pretty pooch on there. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if so, don't forget to click the like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel, that's always good. If you want to visit my blog and my Facebook page, information is in the more information box below this video. But for now, that's it. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope that I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.